Simple interest. The formula to figure simple interest is I equals PRT, P times R times T. The I stands for the interest, P stands for the principal. This is the starting amount. It might be the amount of the loan you took out, it might be the amount of money you invested, but whatever the amount is at the very start. R is for rate, that's the interest rate. It will be given as a percent, and we need to change that to a decimal. So we'll move the decimal 2 places to the left. And then T is the time in years. So our first example using that formula, find the simple interest Kara owes on a 1.5-year loan at an annual interest rate of 7.5% if she has borrowed $1,500. So let's fill in our I equals PRT formula. We're trying to find the interest equals P is the amount you start with. So she has started out by borrowing $1,500. And then anytime you have letters all right beside each other in a formula with no pluses or minuses or anything in between them, that always means multiply. So now I'm multiplying. The principal is $1,500. The rate is 7.5%. I need to change that to a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. So moving it 2 places, I would need to fill in a 0. Then my rate is 0.075. And the most common mistake in these problems is forgetting to move that decimal point. And then the time in years, 1.5 years. Let's keep things easy for our calculator and make 1.5 as the decimal 1.5. Now in your calculator you'll type 1,500 times 0.075 times 1.5, and the amount of interest she will owe is $168.75. A definition we need to know is the definition of maturity value. That's when all is said and done, how much you've ended up paying, loan and interest together. So the maturity value is the total amount due. It's the loan amount plus the interest. For example, a $14,000 loan with 5.25% annual interest is given over 3 years. What is the maturity value? So remember, the maturity value is the loan amount plus the interest. So the loan amount, we know, $14,000. But we've got to figure out the interest. So the interest is our formula, I equals PRT. So the interest would be the principal, the starting amount, $14,000. The rate, 5.25%. We need to change that percent to a decimal. So I'm going to move the decimal 2 places to the left, fill in a 0, 0.0525 is my rate. Time is 3 years. Multiply that all together. Just the interest then is $2,205. But they didn't ask for just the interest, they asked for the maturity value. That's the loan amount plus the interest, how much you're paying all together. So you would add the loan amount plus the interest, and you end up paying back a total of $16,205. That's the maturity value. Rosalinda took out a 6-month, $12,000 loan. The annual simple interest was 8.5%. Find the monthly payment. So to find the monthly payment, we're going to have to find the maturity value, how much we owe total, and split that up over 6 months. So anytime you split something up, you're dividing. So this is a multi-step problem. The maturity value divided by 6 will define the maturity value. we have to add the interest onto the original loan amount. So the interest formula, I equals PRT. Let's figure that out. The interest would be, the principal is $12,000. Then the rate, I need to move my decimal 2 places to the left. So the rate is 0.085. And it's only been 6 months. So if it's only been 6 months and the time has to be in terms of years, 6 months is half of a year, or 0.5. Multiplying all that together gives us an interest of $510. Now we've got to find the maturity value. So we take the original loan amount, $12,000, plus the interest, $510. So what she will owe is $12,510. And then that's going to be split up over 6 months. So if we then divide by 6, each monthly payment comes out to be $2,085. So they did not ask us to find each one of these individual steps. They didn't ask us to find the interest or the maturity value, but we had to find all of those things to get to their final question, the monthly payment. A credit card company charges 1.25% per month on the unpaid balance. What is the finance charge for a month when the unpaid balance is $118.72? Well, the finance charge is just another way to say interest. But in general, it's easy to find the finance charge by multiplying the principal times the rate. And again, we're going to have to change that rate to a decimal by moving 2 places to the left. So our finance charge in this problem would be our unpaid balance, $118.72, times the rate. So move the decimal 2 places to the left, and the rate is 0.0125. Multiplying that together, the finance charge for that month, 1.484, but we don't use 3 decimal places when we're dealing with money, so just round back to 2 decimal places, $1.48. Now we're going to talk a little bit about compound interest. Compound interest is the type of interest you use on most investments, and actually when you have to pay credit card interest as well, or any kind of loan interest. So for example, suppose I put $500 in the bank, and every 3 months they give me some interest. So the first month maybe I get 25 cents interest. Now I have in the bank $500.25. So the next time they go to figure my interest, they use my new larger amount, which means I get just a little bit more interest. Maybe this time I get 26 cents. And when I add that on, now I have an even larger amount for the next time interest is figured. And so I'll get just a little bit more interest. And so it compounds over time. The simple interest we were doing earlier would only figure the interest on this original amount, and that's it. You wouldn't get the benefit of having your amount increase over time. It's just figured on the original principal. But compound interest, it builds as your principal grows, the interest also grows. Now there are formulas for compound interest, but they're rather complicated. So your book is going to have you use a table that's in the back of your book to figure the compound interest. So here's our first example. Sal invests $3,000 in an account that pays 7.5% annual interest, compounded semi-annually. Find the value of his investment after 15 years. So you're going to go to the back of the book and you'll see several tables. The one we're interested in for this problem is on page 593. And it's a little bit difficult to read on this, but it says compounded semi-annually, which is what it said in the original problem, that it was compounded semi-annually. So on the top of each chart in the back of your book, it will give you when the interest is compounded. So this one said semi-annually, so that's why I chose that particular chart. And I don't need to know the $3,000 for the chart. I need to know the 7.5% and the 15 years. So when I go to the chart, I need to find 7.5%. Okay, that's right here. And I need to find 15 years only over on the left column. And then I see where those two things meet. 3.01747. That number gets multiplied times the principal, and that will give us our what we're looking for. So back to the problem. Our principal is $3,000. From the chart we got 3.01747. So the principal times whatever you get from the chart. And so the value of his investment, when you multiply those together, $9,052.41. So after 15 years, his $3,000 has turned into over $9,000. On one of your homework problems, number 37, it states that the interest is compounded monthly instead of annually. So again, look at the very top. This one says compounded monthly, and that's on page 595. So pay attention to when the interest is compounded, and you'll know which chart to use.